What the fuck is this piece of shit?
The topic of what is canon to the Mario universe is a highly complex and debated topic. As shown in the first video, I have shown it is very difficult to fully grasp the Mario lore and requires an extensive overview of the games, interviews, guides, and much more to come to a concise conclusion of the series. In the first video of this duology, I showed that Nintendo's first video on the Mario movie's canonicity showed no convincing evidence that the Mario movie isn't canon. However, there is some missing context. The first video of this series was released before the full movie came out, meaning that they lacked the full context of the movie. But, luckily for us, they ended up making a part 2, making corrections to their original video and claiming that the movie makes additional contradictions to the mainline titles. But I think we all know what I think of that. But enough chatter, let's go. Alright, so for the video I'm going to respond to, it's in a pretty casual nature, so I'm going to make this video a gamer rant style video, with some gameplay in the background. Anyways, let's go over their corrections. Most of these corrections don't really add anything new to the argument that the Mario movie isn't canon. It's just really a rehashing over all the things I already countered in the first video, including deciding to bring up the map differences argument, so there isn't really much to say here. Now, moving on to the meat of the video, they first speak of the Punch-Out references, contemplating its canonicity to the Mario games.
There are framed photos of Punch-Out characters, which implies that Punch-Out is canon in the Mario Movieverse. In the games, it's a bit confusing.
There are at least 2 Punch-Out continuities. In the original NES game, Little Mac is a beginner, making his way up the ranks. In the Wii game, Little Mac is a beginner, making his way up the ranks. We could go on about this for a little while, but it's really not that important. If any version of Punch-Out is canon to the Mario gameverse, it's likely yet another continuity exclusive to it.
In reality, they are right to say that it's complicated. Looking at the games, it's shown that Mario is the referee within the Punch-Out game on the NES, and he doesn't end up being like this in the Wii version, where Little Mac just ends up fighting Donkey Kong. I guess the best way to look at it is that the Wii version is a retelling of the original NES game. I don't really see how this contradicts anything, but I thought I ought to mention it. As for the next argument, it's a weird one. They say that the arcade cabinet is somehow contradictory because it looks like the one from the DK arcade, but it's not but doesn't depict the DK game? How is this contradictory? It's really confusing.
Mario hates mushrooms? What?
Mushrooms.
Mario loves mushrooms!
While I thought this was funny, this was in the movie, it's likely that Mario just had a change in taste when he moved to Brooklyn, and even then, Mario is getting used to mushrooms by the end of the movie anyways.
So Mario finishes his training and they set off for the Jungle Kingdom to recruit the Kong Army! And then Toad shows up to tag along. And we find out that Peach never met Toad before. But as we mentioned in the last video, Toad is supposed to be one of Peach's mushroom retainers, so in the gameverse, they were already acquainted.
The next new argument is Toad, and... why is this contradictory? It could just be possible that Toad became a retainer later on than we originally thought, so it doesn't exactly contradict anything.
They make it to the Jungle Kingdom, and Swanky Kong dies in a tragic car accident. In the gameverse, Swanky hasn't died, at least to our knowledge.
Okay, so this is clearly ridiculous. Obviously, we all know that Swanky Kong is an immortal deity in the Mario universe. It's clear that it's impossible for him to die.
Oh, and during the fight, Mario eats a mini mushroom, but it's the same size as a super mushroom. But we know in the gameverse that mini mushrooms are tiny.
For the mini mushrooms, Mario sizes are generally inconsistent anyways, and in regards to the positive effects granted, it's likely that Mario just didn't have enough time to display the positive effects, plus he didn't know specifically how to use it, and he just ends up getting one shot by Donkey Kong before he can do anything.
Kamek as well. Kamek was really different, and I knew he was really different, but I couldn't figure out how to put it into words, so I was almost just gonna ignore him in this video, but then Sean explained the difference to me and it all makes sense.
The movieverse version of Kamek is very one-note. He's fully supportive of Bowser's actions, a yes-man that is easily excited and full of energy. The gameverse version of Kamek is much more complex than this. Kamek is very smart, and usually aware of the flaws in Bowser's plans. He doesn't blindly follow those plans, and instead works around their shortcomings. Kamek is often sarcastic. He knows how smart he is, and he's tired of being ignored. He understands good leadership and wouldn't lead Bowser astray. Movieverse Kamek assured Bowser that Peach would accept his proposal, which was foolish of him. The way he acts in the movie is honestly a lot closer to how Kammy Koopa from the Paper Mario games acts.
Now about our favorite wizard. While Kamek was a little weird in the movie, I don't think this is a contradiction. Kamek could have just been wrong for once, trying not to lead Bowser astray, but failing to do so. We could also see this as Kamek at the time being too fearful of Bowser to even try and get around Bowser's plan. It's definitely off, but not a real contradiction.
So first off, Bowser sings a little song in the film. He plays the piano wonderfully and sings his heart out. But if you've played Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, you'd know that Bowser is tone deaf. And when this was brought to my attention, I was like, oh, that's probably just a throwaway joke line, I don't think that's worth mentioning. But no, it's literally his character's motivation in the game. He steals the music keys in hopes that they will help him cure his tone deafness. So yeah, I kinda doubt he's the great pianist and singer that we see in the film.
Okay, so this can easily be countered just by simply stating that there are musicians in the real world who are actually deaf.
Bowser is ruthless in the film. A Koopa Troopa questions what would happen if Peach denies his proposal. Yeah, let's burn his skin off. And of course, there's the fact he was going to sacrifice and kill like 100 civilians, including some of his own minions. Like, what? It's comically dark. Game vs. Bowser does not kill. He'll throw people in the dungeon, even turn them into stone on occasion, but he would never drop them into lava and kill them.
Now, I think you could just work out all of the supposed flaws of Bowser's characterization into the games. Like, he could have been suppressing his love for Peach out of anger due to her rejection before eventually opening back up those feelings and really doubling down on his love for her. He could have also tried to suppress his more murderous tendencies in favor of appealing to Peach, later on resorting to less and less stressful tactics, like attempting to turn all the Toads into inanimate objects stuck in perpetual states of immobility, and to more comical tactics like crashing parties because he wasn't invited and whatnot. But in spite of this, I think Bowser still shows off his murderous tendencies, like trying to torch Peach in Bowser's Inside Story. So either Bowser has no concept of his own strength, or not being invited to a meeting is somehow worth killing for. And to be honest, I liked Bowser's characterization in the movie. I've always wanted Bowser to be a serious threat since Super Mario Galaxy, and this movie delivered.
Of course, the really important thing to mention here is her backstory, which is vastly different from the games. To the point that her backstory alone makes it abundantly clear, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is a fully separate continuity.
Movieverse Peach is the only human that we know of on the entire planet. She stumbled into a warp pipe as a baby and landed in the Mushroom Kingdom. This means that she's from another world, most likely the real world, like Mario is. She was raised by toads and wasn't crowned the princess until she was an adult. Of course, this is contradictory to many, many games. First off, there's loads of humans on the planet. There's Mario and Luigi, their parents, Daisy, Professor Egad, Wario, Waluigi, Pauline, all the new Donkers, Captain Syrup, Wario's friends from Diamond City, Rosalina, and many, many more. And Princess Peach was obviously already a princess when she was a baby, as we can see in Yoshi's Island DS, Partners in Time, and many other spin-off titles.
Peach was raised by toads in the games, but it wasn't because she stumbled into the kingdom, potentially rather because her parents had died when she was young.
Okay, you'd have to think that the movie showed us every possible location in the Mushroom World to think that all of the humans suddenly don't exist. They could very well have just been in different locations, both in the Mushroom World and the real world, until dimensional travel was really normalized. I mean, if you're aware of the new Donkers, that explains my argument well enough. The fact that Baby Peach wears a crown in the games just sounds like the Toads gave her that for style, not just actually crowning the baby as their new ruler, when the retainers certainly would have had to been more considerate than that. Given what you saw in the film with the retainers and the fact that she has a father, I just wouldn't be surprised if her parents were out doing separate things like Anna and Elsa's parents in Frozen before their deaths. The movie also didn't state that the Mushroom Kingdom has never had a human in their world before. Peach wearing Toad clothing with her on would just make sense if you know how clothing sizes and resources work. And all that rambling about Peach having waddled out of a pipe just makes sense. We see that Baby Peach was in the Mushroom Kingdom already in Yoshi's Island DS, and I mean, the Storks could have just had a very clumsy and rough time getting her there, similar to their Mario and Luigi related escapades, so they could have just eventually taken Baby Peach back to where she belonged after some trouble. And that should be it. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe and all. Objection! Hold it! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. It was really tough to make. These guys made some legitimately good points. The Peach point almost made me quit making these videos. I was really stuck, but you know, Storm helped me out. Anyways, that's all for me. See you guys later.